So tonight, welcome to our talks. If you don't usually listen to my talks all the way through, listen to this one. Or maybe it's just for me because I want to talk about soul wounds and soul hurts. Um, I'm a very sensitive person, and I thought that that's just how God created me. I'm very very hypersensitive, and but lately I noticed that I'm sensitive even to things that I shouldn't be, just like normal things. And so just this evening, like God started like talking to me about soul wounds and soul hurts. And he was explaining to me how soul wounds compare to physical wounds that we have. All right, because like a physical wounds usually happen when your skin is like teared up. Your skin is supposed to be a protective layer, right, that covers your flesh to keeps it from outside infections, from bacteria, and from all of that. That's what our skin does. It's like a covering of our flesh. So when we have a wound or some type of cut, it means there's a break in the barrier of that protection, a break in the barrier of your skin, right? Your skin that protects, your flesh. There's a break in it, right? And usually after the break, there's usually blood that comes out. And the Bible tells us that the life of a thing is in its blood. So if you're losing blood from a cut, I'm not talking about, the blood that, the type of wounds that take you straight to the emergency room. Any type of cut, any type of wound, even a scrape, right? When you get scraped, your skin, there's a break in the barrier of your protection, which is your skin. And the blood, as you lose blood, you're losing life, because like I said, the life of a thing is in its blood, so you're losing life. Sometimes, and anyway, a wound that is left untreated usually becomes infected, right? It becomes infected. And if it occurs in an area, let's say on your limb, sometimes your limb will have to be cut for you to even survive. So it can get deadly if left untreated. And sometimes some people don't even realize they have cuts on their body until maybe somebody hits them by accident, and they overreact. All right, they just like a small push that normally we just laugh off. All of a sudden you're screaming, crouching over in pain because there was a wound there that maybe you didn't even know about. And it's the same thing for our soul wounds, right? The only difference is because we cannot physically see our soul wounds, most of the time it goes untreated, most of the time it goes unnoticed, right? When you're hurt, in your soul, in your emotion, in your soul. Let me not say your emotions, in your soul. When your soul is hurt, you're losing life, right? You realize that you're not yourself in certain aspects of your life, in whatever area you were hurt. Okay, and left untreated, you notice that your life will begin to change. You begin to become more hardened, right? You either become more hardened towards a specific like whatever area you were hurt in, or you become hypersensitive because that wound is opened, right? And the smallest things just sends you over the edge. For you, you might think that, oh, that I'm just sensitive to that thing, right? Or sometimes you know how, like, if I jokingly like tap you on your arm and you're fine, you just laugh it off, like I just said. But if you're hurt and you start screaming, people will say, oh, she's just overreacting. Or even yourself, you just think, oh, I'm just angry, I'm just emotional, I'm just whatever. We find excuses to cover up the pain of that hurt, right? I hope I'm making sense. We find excuses to cover up that pain so that we never actually stop to think, okay, wait, why was that statement so hurtful to me, even though it was just a simple statement? Why did that affect me to the point of taking me to that extreme anger? Usually there's a wound there. There's a hurt there, right? So the way to deal with that is to stop, examine yourself. What are the things that, when just the smallest things sends you over the edge? And I'm not talking about people insulting you and just people being disrespectful. I'm talking about the thing that in your own mind, like, this is not a big deal, right? My reaction to this thing is more than it should be. That's usually where there's a soreness, where there is some type of hurt that has not been dealt with. For me, sometimes I honestly feel like I'm an open wound. I feel like I'm an open nerve, because there's some things that I shouldn't be reacting to. So you can say the smallest thing to me, you can send me the most simple text, and it will take away my peace. All right. I give you guys a quick example. There was a lady that I used to work with, and she was very she operated a lot with fear. She would yell at me, it seems like everything was always a test with her, like you're always failing, just always pressure, so you always feel like you have to be 100, even when you're sick, like you always feel like you have to be always working, because everything is just, if it has to be right, or she's yelling at you, I don't know, I mean, she meant well, but the way she handled me, it poured fear in my heart, to the point where now, I'm working with somebody else, and she could send me the most simple text, hey, can you help me, can you do this, and me, I would read into that text to the point where I would start having like a panic attack, anxiety attack. The most simple thing, like, hey, were you able to get this done? And for me, that's like, oh my gosh, she's not gonna like me, she's not gonna want to work with me anymore, she's gonna think I'm lazy, she's gonna think I'm not trying, and I will go into a full panic attack just from that simple text. But then I will talk to the person on the phone, and they're just like smiling, like, oh my gosh, thank you so much, and okay, don't worry about that, and everything is fine. But prior to talking to them on the phone, I was having a full panic attack just from a simple text, a simple exclamation point, a simple period. And I realized that I hadn't healed from what had happened my previous relationship with the person that I was working for. So it's small things like that. Sometimes for me, I when that happens, I literally have to stop and pray in tongues until it lifts, or I could go days having panic attacks and anxiety, like to the extreme. And these are things I never used to have these problems. So I know that there was a cut somewhere that I didn't realize was a cut. There was a cut or a wound that I didn't realize was there, and I'm starting to see it, and now I have to take it to God so that He can help me heal. So I just wanted to encourage you guys. Just examine yourself, look at your life, look at your reactions. If they're not rational, and you yourself notice that this thing, I'm overreacting, I'm just super sensitive to this thing, go back and see what happened in the past, and then start talking to God about it, and get help if you need that, if you get help. Right? So I know this is not really Thanksgiving, but happy Thanksgiving. And God bless you guys. I'll see you next time.